You touched upon this a little earlier. You said that people forget that the first and the worst victims of this, and in this case, are the Palestinian civilians. So, could you give us a little bit more of an insight into exactly what Hamas does to its own people? Because everyone seems to blame Israel for Gaza's present condition, when Hamas seems to be running what you could say is a police state, and the siege really isn't Israel's fault, and provides Gaza with services that they really shouldn't have to, and that we should remember that Gaza has been an independent country since 2005, and it's been in charge of its own affairs since then. So, how would you respond to how Hamas treats its own people?
I spent 10 days in Gaza, and it was the most bizarre experience I've ever lived through. I've been to North Korea, and trust me, North Korea is nowhere near as bizarre as Gaza is. And there's a reason for it. The people in Gaza, it's a very small plot of land. It's just a quarter the size of Delhi, the physical size of Delhi, where I am. And what ends up happening is you have to, everything is based on patronage. Things don't happen unless you're close to Hamas. Uh, there are gangs out there of different factions of terrorists who you have to pay homage to, either in terms of services or in terms of money. Everybody's too scared to talk about anything because surveillance is all pervasive out there. You never know what conversation Hamas is listening in on, even at home. You don't know which member of your family is radical enough to go rat you out to Hamas. So you can't even have a husband and wife conversation at home. Justice is nasty, it is brutal. You can be declared a collaborator at any point of time and be executed. I don't think people realize how nasty the rule of Hamas is, but there's a very good indicator. All these reporters, quote unquote, reporters in Gaza, who are suddenly achieving celebrity fame on Instagram and Twitter for their on ground reporting. How is it that in the last 17 years of Hamas single party rule, have not reported on a single scam, on a single piece of disaffection, on a single piece of corruption, on a single piece of civic malfunction, even out of Gaza? Do you believe that a government can rule for 17 years and still retain 100% of the people's affection and function absolutely flawlessly to keep that 100% people's affection? Obviously not. And that is the clearest sign of absolute pervasive media control that you have. The second thing in all of this is you will also find that all these reporters are very conveniently at the same spot where all the other cameras are. How do they just know where to congregate? I've always found that very strange. How is it that they all take the exact same line? I also find that very strange. How is it that there is absolutely no divergent voice coming out of Gaza at all? It is a sociological and anthropological impossibility. And yet we see it in Gaza. Now, the problem is, from my own experiences on the ground in Gaza, what I've found is that that is indeed the case, and it is entirely driven by fear that people dare not open their mouths. Because their intelligence system that targets their own people is very, very, very good. If you are planning on doing anything, Hamas will get to know about it and they will take action. So it's not a nice place to be. And you get double victimized because you're victimized for living under Gaza, under Hamas, that you can't travel outside this sort of 70-kilometer by 7-kilometer strip of land, and you have to endure Hamas. And because the children are brave, what do kids know? The children are told everything. I mean, when you're a 5, 6 year old kid, you don't understand the complexities of sociology or anything like that. So you're like, oh yeah, let's blame the Israelis. Let's blame the Israelis for everything. The, the dissent, you will be killed instantly. And it's the Lord of the Flies situation where 44% under 14, heavily radicalized kids who have no access to any alternate point of view, uh, completely under the control of Hamas to do whatever they want.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.